Hey, welcome back to the Six Figure Mastermind. Marianne DeNovellis here, and we've got some very specific techniques on how to help you find what your customers' needs and wants are. So stay tuned and take some notes. How do you know what your customers need? Well, it's time to find out. The first thing you're going to want to do is start collecting feedback from your customers. This almost seems like a no-brainer, but the official person that knows what they need is that person. So how do you find out exactly what your customer needs, exactly what they want? Maybe they're your client, maybe they're your potential client. How do you find out exactly how to serve them best? Because as an entrepreneur, that's what you do. You're a solutions provider. So let's dig really deep on how to find out exactly how you can serve them and what their needs are. The first thing that you need to do is go and ask. And there's many ways to do that, but my favorite way is just to have a one-on-one conversation or to do a feedback on social media. I love going on posting online and saying, what are your favorite things about this? Or what do you need most in this arena? So think about what you have to offer. Think about your product or your service or whatever it is that you are giving to the world as an entrepreneur, whatever you're building your six figures with, and find out what exactly the customer is looking for. Now, I work in a group with several entrepreneurs, and one of my favorite entrepreneurs is a man who has a big Amazon store. And he did some research and found out that there were some bulletin boards on sale on Amazon, but they had several reviews that weren't so hot. It maybe had 3.5 stars, which if you have 3.5 stars on Amazon, your sales are going to tank. 3.5 stars is the breaking point for when your sales tank versus above that going up to 5 stars when people are loving your product. That's one of my favorite things to do is to go on Amazon and read reviews and see what people are saying. So he sees this product, he sees that it's got 3.5 star reviews, and we're going to find out, okay, what are people are saying? So he's going to go in, look at the feedback, look at the comments, and he finds out that the magnets that were holding this little bulletin board together were not strong enough. They were too weak. It wasn't even his product, but he thought, you know what? This product has really good sales, but it looks like the feedback is not doing well. So you know what he did? He re-engineered the product, redesigned it, and marketed it himself. And he created a new product based on the feedback of the customers that was already pre-existing, and created a new product that was very successful in selling that, has done that over and over and over with products that either were defective in some way or had negative or low reviews. So that's one tool, is go and look at existing feedback. Even before the customer becomes your customer, go look and see how they're giving feedback on everyone else, on all your competitors, web pages, on all your competitors' feedback forums. Check your competitors' Facebook pages. See what the number one complaints are on those pages, and then see if you can solve them and improve whatever it is that you are offering. Your competitors are honestly some of your best allies because they're doing a lot of the market research for you. So go and see what people are saying about them and then kick it up a notch. Raise your game. The second thing you're going to look for, social proof. Social proof means everyone's doing it. It's this syndrome that we have whenever we buy a new car and then suddenly we see that new car everywhere else on the roads. We're looking for social proof subconsciously in our minds. For example, I remember a few years ago when we saw Hemis everywhere. We saw these big H3s and H2, these Hummers were all over the road, and everyone that had one was feeling pretty good because everyone else had one. They're very popular. That's the social proof that we're looking for. So go, after you look at your competitors' feedback, after you look at the customers' feedback on their sites, go get your own. Go collect social proof. And you can do that in one of many ways. You can do this with polls. You can go online and create a poll. You can do that with survey software. You can do that with emails. You can do that with Facebook or other social media. Creating a poll will allow you to see, kind of with a litmus test and an energetic dipstick, if you will, and check in and see, where are my customers coming from? What are they saying? What kind of feedback are they giving? You're also going to want to check in with polls. You're going to want to check in with preferences. Ask your customers what they would prefer. You can do this with an A/B split test, with an email or with a Facebook post or with any kind of Twitter or Pinterest or online social media, and get some feedback from your customers on preferences, if they prefer one thing over another, or how they would prefer to see something presented. So you've got polls, you've got preferences, but you also have got your practice. The 3 P's of social proof: your polls, your preferences, and your practice. Practice means, what are you good at? You're getting the needs and the wants of your customers fulfilled. You're going to want to do it with what you're good at. Find out what you're good at and ask how you can make it better. I'll give you a quick example of this. My husband's a chef, and with his clients, he has a lot of custom orders come in. In fact, one of the favorite things for him to do is when a customer says, I haven't found this food anywhere except when I was overseas and I haven't seen it in the US and I'm wondering if you can make it. He loves to take on a challenge, so he all the time takes those kinds of requests, and he does several prototypes, which is really yummy for me. Love that. So he takes all these prototypes, and for example, he had a friend who said, what? I love coffee cake, but no one here in Utah drinks coffee, so how am I going to find coffee cake? I need you to make me a coffee cake. So my husband's like, great, let's do this. So he takes this idea for coffee cake and deconstructs it. He's like, okay, I know what coffee cake has. I know it has cinnamon. I know it has strudel. I know it's this certain shape. So he all takes those ideas and puts them together. But then he practices and goes and asks his client what he wants. His client who ordered this coffee cake for his birthday had never thought of these things before. Questions like, do you want the cinnamon marbled in with your cake? What shape do you want your cake? How much strudel do you want on your cake? When do you want this cake delivered? Do you want it to be multi-tiered cake? Are you going to be drinking a beverage with this cake? All of these questions that go through a chef's mind when he's constructing his craft get to go through your mind when you're fulfilling the needs of your clients. You know more about what you're providing than your client does, just by nature of the fact that you're providing it. You are the practitioner. You're the one that is bringing it to the table. So feel free to ask your client the specific questions about what they want to see when they get their product delivered. You'll get no better energetic or physical test of how you're fulfilling than by your client's feedback. You're also going to want to ask a few specific questions to your client. I'll give you some examples on what exactly to ask your client when you want to know if you're fulfilling well on what you're providing to them. Write these down. These are a few specific questions. In fact, when I ask the question, pause the video, write it down, and then hit play again to get the next question. Okay, so here's the first question. I've got four specific questions for you. First one, what frustrates you most? What is the most frustrating thing that is happening in your world right now? And then they're going to be relevant to your solution. So what's frustrating you most about your relationship is, let's say you're a relationship mentor. What is the most frustrating thing about that? Let's say that you make seat belts. Poll the audience. What is the most frustrating thing about your seatbelt? Let's say that you make cup holders. What is the most frustrating thing about the cup holder that you're experiencing? Ask questions that are relevant to your craft and find out what people's feedback are within that frustration. Okay, here's the second question. How do you feel that your time is being wasted? Again, go back to your specific craft. Maybe you're a photographer and you want to know, how do you feel as a client that your time is being wasted as a client? Do you spend a lot of time waiting for your photography? Do you spend a lot of time reading through things that you don't feel like you should have to read through? Do you spend a lot of time in your wardrobe trying to decide what to wear and you wish that your photographer would just provide a color palette for you? Ask your clients where they feel their time is being wasted, because your client was coming to you because they want to save time and money. Your client will always buy when they feel like they're saving time and money and getting an investment on the energy they're putting into it. The third question, ask your clients what they hear themselves repeatedly saying over and over. Scan throughout the day. What are you constantly wishing you had? What are you constantly wishing that a certain product would do? What do you wish that for example, if this only had a piece of Velcro on it, I could just slap it on the wall, but I'm having to bend down and pick it up all the time. Maybe you work in a salon and you're finding that your space is really cluttered and you're repeatedly saying to yourself, oh, I wish my space could look so much cleaner. How could I do that? As an entrepreneur, that's the mindset you need to have, is how can I solve this problem? It may seem like a small problem, but a lot of money is made on solving very, very small problems. So ask, what are they saying repeatedly to themselves over and over and over? Here's the fourth question. I love this one because it has a vision into the future. It's a perspective on where I want to be. So I'm going to ask this of all my clients. In fact, I do every time I'm doing a client interview or any kind of a strategy session or a discovery session or mentoring session together. I always ask this question. Where do you see yourself in a year? I also ask, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? What do you see yourself doing? How do you feel? What's in your home? Who are the people you're hanging around with? What's your income? What does your body look like? Are you more fit there than you are now? And then as an entrepreneur, your job is to solve the problem that has brought them from where they're at to where they want to be. You get to help them bridge the gap. So you're going to find out exactly what they want to do, be, or have in the next year or 5 years, and then find out how you can solve that problem for them. It's really easy to determine the needs of your clients. It's really easy to determine and fulfill, and if you know what they are. So finding out what they are is going to be the key to your entrepreneurial business. So tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Now you know how to find everything. Go out there and crush it. We'll see you tomorrow.